Okay, you see this, and this. Anime like these will ruin your day, but in a good way. Even though you're sad because of what happened, you know it's for the best because it ended with a happy ending. Something these shows deserved, and at the end of the day, we will remember these shows and smile as we reminisce them. But this ruins your day and you don't even know what day it is anymore. Why? Because you feel like a vegetable. I'm sorry, was that a little mean? Well, at least you don't have a broken arm. Hey guys, it's me, Flinnka. Made in the Depths of Hell is a fantasy anime from summer 2017 that tells the tale about chibi blonde Sacagawea and her robot companion, Regu Ralph, planning to go into the world's biggest asshole to find her mother, Amelia Earhart. It's all based on a true story written by Anne Frank, and it's my top candidate for anime of the year. Originally, Aka 13 was going to be, but with a strong hook, beautiful visuals, accompanied with one of the best soundtracks in recent memory, and a completely original story, Made in Abyss towers over its competitor. The moment the episode starts, you're sitting there wondering, who gave permission for children to explore a monster-infested hole? While child labor laws have not yet been passed, it doesn't matter because look at that hole and god damn it, look at that scenery. Tranquility and mystery oozes from this scene alone, and it only goes uphill from there. I was completely immersed in its story and atmosphere from start to finish. It changes tone frequently without being too unpredictable. One second you forgot you're in the most dangerous part of the world because of how beautiful the landscape is, and the next you're running away from monkeys in an upside down forest. Which, by the way, should have an evolutionary advantage over you until one of them falls off like a fucking idiot. Before I suck this anime's dick even more than I already have, let me address the main topic of this video. The greatest aspect of Made in Abyss is how unsettling and heartbreaking it can make you feel. It's a strange thing to be praising, but a bulk of what makes Made in Abyss is how it will beat the living shit out of your heart. That's a little harsh. How about make you cringe? No, not that. Nobody knows the real meaning of cringe anyway, so it'll just confuse you. Uncomfortable. It makes you feel uncomfortable. If you haven't watched Made in Abyss for some reason, I'm going to be showing a lot of spoilers, so go watch it and then come back. There's also going to be some graphic imagery, so viewer discretion is advised. But more importantly, watch it. All of it. It's worth your time. Do it. Now, since you've watched Made in Abyss, you would remember episode 10 and episode 13. Both present their respective scenes in a grotesque manner. How Riko's arm puffs up, then breaks, to Minnie's transformation and dissection. There's no censorship, but no emphasis to its gore. You look at an anime like Tokyo Ghoul where 80% of the screen is censored or the colors are inverted. So you get the Blu-ray edition. And plop! There's the blood. But it just pops out. The blood is saturated and the wounds feel like figures just clipping into each other. The anime is trying too hard to present its gore. At first it's like, don't look at me! But now its head is against yours screaming for attention. I know blood is supposed to be saturated and bright, but sometimes trying to be realistic doesn't make your anime feel real. Making your world feel real is important when engaging your audience. And to do this, you need to be consistent with the style of your world. The gore in Made in Abyss matches its tone, atmosphere, and art style. It takes proper creative liberties to make its world feel real while still being an anime. Now, suddenly being a bit gory isn't why Made in Abyss is uncomfortable. If that's the case, something like Elfen Lied would have done the trick. But all it did was make my 8-year-old body shit himself because you should never watch something like Elfen Lied when you're 8. What makes these scenes so uncomfortable isn't the direct event that is shown to us. It's a mixture of everything we have witnessed from the anime coming together like a finished puzzle. Going back to episode 1, we are foreshadowed that this huge ass shaft is not a forgiving one, where if you try to go up 1 centimeter you get screwed by different curses depending on which floor you stand in. At first it's like you got a little witty headache, and once you get to floor 4 you bleed from your eyes. From then on, you understand the danger of this world and the stakes that could and will be involved. There's a constant ominous threat lurking in the background of every episode after the two descend in the abyss. It's subtle, but it exists only to ram its way to the front once the danger is recognized. With each new threat that comes, the stakes slowly escalates. From flying worm serpent thing to poison-quilled porcupine ball-face that can apparently see the future? Huh?
Oh, you got his face! Take the shot, Reg! Woo! Good shit, Reg! We're having porcupine steak tonight and you missed.
You shot, point blank, at his face, while still holding him. And you missed. Well, you certainly know how to wreck it, Ralph. Before we witness Reg's god-awful shooting, the first confrontation with the porcupine is actually a perfect example of what I'm talking about. When they're fighting, you feel like the two will prevail like they always have been throughout the anime. They haven't suffered much loss, so when you think they got the upper hand, you believe it's good as won, only to be reminded of the danger that exists in their world. And when you think things can't get worse, everything from the start comes back and bites them. It's this sense of knowing the worst is to come but not expecting it to actually happen. So when it does, we're shocked by this. Before we have time to fully register that this just happened, the escalation occurs. Blood starts popping out, wounds start inflating, bones breaking. The hard shell that Riko has had since the beginning starts cracking, and we see this weak side to her we weren't prepared to see. It's like when you see your friend genuinely depressed and you have no idea how to act. You want to help, but are afraid of making things worse. You don't know what to say and are forced out of your comfort zone. And Made in Abyss capitalizes on this, forcing both the viewers and the characters to experience that one car crash they thought would never actually happen. If you thought this scene was a roller coaster of a ride, then you would know that episode 13 is a 48-minute road trip. You know an anime episode is good when you watch it and you don't even realize it's twice the normal length. But before episode 13, during episodes 11 and 12, the anime gives the viewers the breather we sorely needed, but continues to plot its next move. New subtle foreshadowing and an ominous vibe are set in the background for its next big, sadistic, heart-shooting carnival. As you probably already know, Nanachi and Midi didn't exactly have the most rose-colored life. I mean, I wouldn't too if I was transformed into a stuffed animal. As the viewers, we already know they've lost their human form, so learning about it is to be expected. What wasn't expected was that they lost it because Nazi Child Murder of the Year was experimenting the obvious.
I wonder what happens when you ascend from the 6th floor.
Sir, the victim dies or loses their humanity.
Well, you can't be too sure. Come on, kids, get in the pod. Huh. I guess you're right. Well, boys, I lost the bet. It is on me.
Yay!
Oh, Nanachi. Clean up aisle 2.
The transformation scene was one of two scenes in the episode that really made me feel uncomfortable. It was similar to when Reg broke Riko's arm and tried to cut it off. The slow hacking and slashing at her arm and the painful transformation both present an unsettling realism. While it is a fantasy world, the transformation isn't a few simple sparks or a ball of light, and the cutting of an arm isn't finished with a single slash. It's unsettling, but further justifies the dark turn. While this scene was drenched in realism, it wasn't by implementing our reality and physics that makes this scene. It's by staying in the confinements of its own reality that truly expresses the harshness of their situation. Hundreds of anime bypass their own laws in physics to further advance the plot or keep us indulged and longing to be part of that world. Depending on the genre, we accept it because it's the world we're escaping to. But Made in Abyss challenges us by showing its own world's harshness, and in return, we compare that to our own unfair reality. It's ingenious because it creates a connection without pandering to our own tastes. Now, up until now, I've been making it seem like these scenes are uncomfortable because of how brutal they are. While yes, gore can be uncomfortable, but only if it's sudden yet expected. While Made in Abyss's gruesome moments are the uncomfortable ones, the second scene gives us a different perspective while still being uncomfortable. It's when Reg takes aim and fires. But he doesn't miss. This scene has so many emotions mixed in it. Sad, lonely, devastating. It's really a cluster that boils down to making you feel heartbroken. But that's not what's uncomfortable about it. If sadness in anime was uncomfortable, then Clan Ed, Angel Beats, Plastic Memories, and Anohana's endings all would have been on the same level. The difference lies in the weight and the aftermath of the death. You look at Angel Beats and all that happens is she disappears, reincarnated back to the old world. You feel sad but also happy because you know it was for the characters to move on. But Made in Abyss straight up kills Mitty. It was a tough choice with Reg's morality and Mitty's suffering on the line. There was a large amount of weight regardless of what choice Reg made. No right answer could be formulated from this situation. There's also a huge difference in the execution of her death. We don't see Reg just kill her and that's it. Nanachi starts getting second thoughts and starts apologizing to Mitty. We get a sense of humanity and relate to it. But since none of us have ever been in her situation, we feel lost. Mitty didn't simply disappear out of thin air. She was obliterated, incinerated to death. And once the smoke clears and the tears start pouring out of the remaining two, we're speechless. Obviously it was going to happen. There was no way around it, but we secretly hoped for some kind of miracle to happen, that against all odds, that 1% chance would become a reality. But, ironically, that's real life. Off chances are nothing more than the unlikely, and this anime throws it all in our face. Made in Abyss is a lot of things. Stunning, immersing, and a downright brilliant work of art. But not all art has one side to it. Art reflects and contradicts. It likes showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly all on the same piece. Made in Abyss gives you all its reality has to offer, but only shows you what you want to see in the beginning. We hold on to that, but are forced to let it go when hit from what's behind. It keeps its most jarring qualities subtly in the background, which only helps to make it stand out more once it's realized. It's the harsh reality you know exists, but won't feel the full force of it until it's in your face. And once it's there, you're lost for words. The only thing you can do is stand and watch. It's raw, gruesome, brutal, sad, grim. It's uncomfortable, but through thick and thin, it's all made in Abyss.